Well, I have a question. What do you think love is? What love is for you?
Love changes. And honestly, if before there were TVs and movies and, indigenous people love their children, and you know what I'm saying? There's the maternal love where, you just literally love your kids. But we've romanticized love so much.
Now, what is love for you?
Love for me is just literally having somebody to enjoy. I mean, my husband and I, we happen to have, he's a great gardener, so we have a beautiful, gardens around the yard. And we go out and sit in the summer, we'll sit out in what we call the butterfly garden every morning. He drinks his coffee, I drink my tea, and there's just butterflies everywhere. It's fabulous, and you can hear the birds singing, and it's not a huge space. I mean, it's the size of your dining room, but we call it the butterfly garden, and he planted stuff that butterflies like and put 2 chairs out there, and we go out there and enjoy our coffee and tea. And those are the things, the just holding hands. And that's another thing with the cancer is oftentimes people look at you differently, and they're a little more standoffish. They don't know what to say. They're like, oh, it must be, and I'm not saying I put on a brave face, but I'm in a really good position, and I have lots of people who love me. So love is just enjoying the people you're with. And if you're living in a toxic environment, and if there's even one person out there that's, just dragging you down, it could be a friend, it could be a neighbor, it could be your in-laws, you have to limit the time with those people and tell yourself, I deserve to be treated better. I don't deserve to be rained on every day. So you have to set boundaries for yourself for how you want to be loved and how you want to love other people. And there's the love I have for my grandkids. It's different even than the love I have for my own children. I enjoyed having children, and I'm so glad I did, but there's something about grandbabies that just...
It's a whole different level of love.
Yes, they just adore you, and that's, I wouldn't have it any other way. And then there's the love you have for your husband. My husband and I have been married 40 years this year, and, we're busy. Both of us are busy, and we support each other. I told my girls when they got older, I said, when you go to pick the father of your children, the man you're going to spend a lot of time with, I said, make sure it's like a 3-legged race. If you're tied together and going in separate directions, you're never going to get anywhere. You have to be able to compromise and kind of go in the same direction. So I feel like I haven't had a traditional job since before my kids were born. Well, actually a little bit after my first one was born. But I haven't had a traditional job, but I've supported my husband daily. What can I do to help, And it's not just, oh, you're the housekeeper and he's the breadwinner. We work together to build a business. We work together to raise our kids. We work together to, when we ever changed a house, it was always, we would sit down and discuss it together. We've worked together as a couple to get where we are. And that brings you closer. If you can't compromise over the small things, you're not going to be able to compromise over the big things. And if it's toxic, let it go. And that means, you can't let your kids go, obviously, but you don't have to
give them for adoption when they're 40.
You can distance yourself from the in-laws' negative effects if that's what it is. Not that that's what we had, but you set boundaries. Like when we first got married, his mother wanted everybody to be at her house on Thursday for Thanksgiving. We couldn't do it Saturday, couldn't do it Sunday. It had to be Thursday, and everybody had to be there. And at first, we did that, and that's fine, and that's what she wanted, so I made that compromise. But now that my children are grown, when we come up on Thanksgiving or Christmas, it's like we sit down as a family and say, oh, what day can we all be here? And oftentimes, like this year, we had Christmas on the 28th, I think, because that's the day they all went to their in-laws on Christmas. They spent, Christmas morning with their own children. And then on the 28th, my family got together and we had our own little Christmas. And it's small. We don't do big. I decorate my mantle with stockings, which looks beautiful. And I have what I call a half of a Christmas tree. It's literally a Christmas tree cut in half. And the kids decorate that. And then we exchange one present from everybody there. Of course, the grandkids get a few more things, but it's not some over-the-top, my God, we have to spend every penny we own for strangers and other people.
Your family is super close. You should take the... It's amazing how your kids are so
and my
loving
kids,
and supportive, and not just through cancer, even before that,
yes.
you were super close. So you create this great family.
Yeah, the kids my 3 girls were all born close together, and my son was 11 years older. I refer to him as my caboose. And I would have had more in between if I could have. But he just recently literally moved out of the house that he was born and raised in. And I'm so proud of his sisters. He's just like, what do you need? Can we come over and help? And, and they're not doing it for him. They never have. They've never let him get away with murder. But they're there to support him. And they're there when when he broke up with his first girlfriend. They talked to him better than I did.
So you taught them how to love. I think it comes from parents.
Yes.
Kids learn from you how to love.
Well, and they also learn apathy. If they learn that, you're too busy to play with them, they don't have resources to go find other stuff. It's not like they can go out in the neighborhoods and play with all the kids. They learn, and it's not apathy in the sense you realize you're not putting in enough effort, but they notice. And I have kids that, I think it's so sad that I had a kid the other day, 9 years old, didn't know what a hole punch was. We were hole punching stuff, and he's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, wow, I get little kids that have never held scissors before. Their parents don't even own a pair of kids' scissors. That's stuff you do at school, which the schools aren't living up to what they're supposed to be now. Teachers, bless their heart, they go in with the best of intentions, and I feel like they get there and they get their hands tied behind their back and swamped in paperwork and testing. And so we've got to change how we treat children all the way across the board. And, I'm pushing to do that in several different ways. I think it's funny that you go on, if you have cable TV, you've got 4 golf channels and 3 baseball channels and plenty of football channels. You've got news channels. You've got history channels, which are good. But there are no parenting channels out there. There's not a single thing out there for parents. And so parents are starving for ideas. They don't even know what they don't know. And they don't know what they're missing on how much fun these kids can be. And so their kids are missing out on a relationship because they're too busy at school and the parents have to work to keep up the perfect house. So we were fortunate enough we didn't start with a perfect house. We started on a shoestring, and everything after that just felt like, I can remember my kids literally, we had a recycling bin that, you put your bottles and cans in, and my one daughter would go out there with the hose and wash an empty can, which didn't need washing, and stack it over here to dry, and then she'd go back and rinse a bottle and stack it. She would spend an hour rinsing my recyclables just because it was fun. And did it look messy? Yes, it looked messy while she was doing it, but every Tuesday the recycling went out to the curb and she started over again. And I didn't have to spend a ton of money on toys. So spend time with your kids.
Yeah, that's super important.
And learn it. The internet will teach you how to change a tire on your car. The internet will teach you parenting skills. And I'm not talking about how to make them eat all the vegetables on their plate. I'm on several Facebook pages that are just about free play, letting the kids direct the play, and you literally supervise it. And by supervise it, I mean get yourself a comfortable chair inside or out, wherever they're at. Have your book that you're reading. And then when they need something, stop what you're doing, meet their needs, and then let them go back to it. And literally, they could spend hours playing, and you could read a book.
What message would you like to leave for your family and friends and supporters?
Oh, now I might
who's
cry.
been there through the battle with cancer?
Well, my family's been fabulous through both of these things of cancer. Thankfully, this time I didn't have the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing, which is nice. I had some other stuff thrown in, like a broken hip and, a grand mal seizure that I didn't have the first time. But so it was a little easier as far as knowing that we were expecting a rough time, but they've been fabulous. And I'm just saying, lean on people when you need to lean on them, and don't lean on them when you don't. And right now I'm kind of fighting that in between, because I could do more than they'll let me do. They worry if I have too many kids here, I'll be overdoing it. And I'm like, no, bring me kids every day. So I have to fight with them a little bit on what they think I'm capable of. They have no idea. I'm so much more capable than they realize. I want to get in a swimming pool so bad, and they won't let me because of my skin. But I'm like, oh, my dream is to go swimming in a warm swimming pool right now. And they're like, no, your skin won't let you. And I'm like, okay.
So that's your message. Lean on people when you need them.
Lean on people when you need them. And there'll be a day you need somebody. So if you're ignoring the relationships with your kids and your husband and, so busy doing your own thing, and they may not be there for you when you need them or know how to. You kind of have to. They trained me and I trained them. Again, it's a big compromise. They're like, we can help you. And it's hard. It's hard to say, I don't feel like getting out of bed today. And they're like, well, I'll make you something good to eat. And my friends all brought soup and bread. So, and then you go, okay. And once you're up, you're like, okay, I can do this. So take care of yourself, but lean on people when you need to. And keep your friends close, because, having friends come visit is one of my favorite things to do. Julia's here today. My brother and sister-in-law are coming later. And yesterday we had the whole family together for a family day because my other brother-in-law was here. So keep your family close and enjoy. It doesn't have to be a holiday. It doesn't have to be, it's Thanksgiving dinner, we're all together.
Have a sense of urgency, like you said. Don't put anything for tomorrow, because you never know if tomorrow even happens.
Yeah, one of my daughters lives 3 hours away from where I live, and it's hard to get there when you're sick. She's been coming up routinely. She's a physical therapist, and she's been great about coming up and taking PTO and spending time with me. And I'm doing pretty good right now, waiting for my radiation. So they just put a speed train from here to her house, and I'd never ridden on one before. It's called the Brightline, and we took the Brightline down to visit her, and it was fabulous. We got there, we went to a butterfly garden, which my husband absolutely loved. If you ever get to West Palm Beach, they have somewhere around there, they have this fabulous butterfly garden. And it was just a beautiful day with my daughter and my son-in-law. And then we were starving, and it's like 40 minutes from their house, so they didn't know. And my son-in-law Googled the best barbecue place we ever ate at before in my whole life. They sold like big chunks of meat and the knives and the cutting board and sauces for people who are all about barbecue, but it was also a restaurant. It was fabulous. And so just go out and Google a different restaurant, or go to a art festival, but go spend time with your family. So
it's been great. Thank you.
No problem. And like I said, life is short. Live it right now and enjoy it. If there's things you don't enjoy, find a way to do it differently. If it's your job you don't enjoy, get a new job.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, change it.
And if you're spending way too much money on this fancy house and fancy cable and stuff, downsize. My husband and I are starting to downsize because our kids are grown, but there's a lot to be said for, having less and stressing less about how everything needs to be perfect. It doesn't. Yeah. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm going to hug her in the camera.
Oh, hug me. Oh.
Oops, my butt in the camera.
I was going to say, you're going to